The sun rises over Washington and the south lawn of the White House once again becomes a global stage. The camera catches a familiar silhouette, President Donald Trump, flanked by his key advisors, greeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The two leaders meet amid the hum of cameras and the rhythmic clicks of shutters, a moment charged with diplomatic weight and political calculation. Inside the ornate Roosevelt room, the mood is businesslike but heavy with undertones of war and diplomacy. Around the long wooden table sit the principal figures of the Trump administration, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Across from them, Zelensky leads his delegation, composed and determined, his expression betraying the strain of a nation still fighting to hold its ground. As the doors close, Trump begins. His voice, familiar and direct, cuts through the room. He speaks about Russia, about Vladimir Putin, and about the uneasy search for an end to a war that has redrawn Europe's security map. I think that he wants to make a deal, Trump says. I made 8 of them. I'm going to make a 9th. I think he wants to make a deal. The remark sends ripples through the journalists outside. For months, speculation has swirled over whether Trump would attempt to broker what others could not, a settlement between Moscow and Kyiv that might finally stop the bloodshed. Yet his tone today is that of a man who sees opportunity, not impossibility. He continues, recalling the early days of the invasion when Kyiv stood on the edge of collapse. He should have won the war in a week, Trump says of Putin. If we hadn't given the anti-tank missiles, the javelins, they would have been in Kyiv very quickly. The comment, blunt and provocative, underscores Trump's familiar confidence in his own leverage and in America's power to tip the scales of global conflict. Across the table, Zelensky listens carefully. When he speaks, his voice is measured but carries the urgency of a man whose country cannot afford fatigue. Mr. President, he begins, thank you very much for the invitation. My congratulations for your successful ceasefire in the Middle East. You did it. And I think this is the momentum to finish Russia's war against Ukraine. Zelensky's praise for Trump's Middle East ceasefire is more than courtesy. It's an appeal to momentum, to moral continuity. The truce negotiated in Sharm el-Sheikh has given the White House fresh diplomatic credibility, and Ukraine hopes that same energy can be redirected toward ending its war.